This is my audience. It's already playing, so don't touch anything.
I know it's playing.
Okay. Do you remember a time when you were a kid and you fell or scraped your knee and got hurt? Do you remember taking that experience and changing the way you rode your bike, skipped, or making sure you tied your shoes next time so you wouldn't fall and scrape your knee and get hurt again? Although that is still a very small distant event, it still changed the way you lived thereafter. Now imagine something extremely traumatic happening, like being raped, molested, or sexually assaulted. If that little scrape you got as a kid changed the way you lived, can you imagine how drastic a traumatic event such as rape would change your life? 1 in 4 women experience rape in their lifetime, and many more have experienced it and never reported it. So the true ratio is much higher. I believe if rape and sexual assault held higher jail time and was taken more serious by the court system, we could change the statistics drastically. Sexual assault leaves a lasting impact on its victims. According to the World National Mental Health Survey, 49.6% of sexual assault victims develop PTSD after experiencing it more than once. PTSD is a lifelong struggle victims must face every day. It includes symptoms like anxiety, nightmares, and realistic flashbacks that feel like you are reliving the experience all over again. And that's only one of the many mental health disorders that are associated with sexual assault. Other common disorders include depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and even suicide. When convicted of rape or sexual assault, the person who is being charged should register as a sex offender and serve jail time in hopes of preventing further assaults. However, there are numerous cases where no jail time or lenient jail time was received. And these offenders were able to go about their daily lives as if nothing happened. Meanwhile, their victims are scarred forever. A Washington Post article stated a sheriff's deputy was charged with rape of a 14-year-old girl that went on for years. His penalty was no jail time and probation. Another Washington Post article states a fraternity president was charged with rape and was also let go with probation. And then we have an article from Legal Monitor, when once again, a convicted sex offender was allowed to walk free without any consequences other than probation. These are 3 different cases with all the same outcome. And for each case, the rape victim had to walk out of the courtroom without the feeling of safety and knowing that as long as their rapist was free, they could possibly have to relive their experience again. There are many crimes that are committed daily, but among all rape and sexual offenses, according to the Canadian Journal of Criminology, are amongst the highest reoffending rates. If these offenders aren't being held accountable, how can we expect them to ever stop? Not only does not giving adequate jail time for sex offenders make it to where the victims don't feel safe, or they don't feel it's worth to report it, these rapes and sexual assaults, but it also allows offenders to live their life free while their victims are struggling to cope with what happened to them. The mental impacts that these crimes have on their victims are lifelong mental disorders that they must deal with. In a Global Issue post, follow-up was done with a sexual assault victim 32 years after the crime happened. And she stated that to this day, she's been left with a horrific legacy of anxiety and nightmares. And she's not the only one. And she's not the only one. According to the Journal of Clinical Psychology, many mental health disorders that women face has a link to a traumatic experience such as rape or sexual assault. It is very important that we hold these offenders accountable and give them consequences. If that doesn't happen, they will never stop. It is important because if more sex offenders are given consequences that allow their victims to feel safe, more women will step forward and report their rapes, which in turn will lower the rate of sex offenses. If these sex offenders believe that no real consequences will come from their actions, the number of sexual assaults will rise with an already detrimental statistic of women who face rape and sexual assault and the effects it has on them. It is clear that these sex offenses aren't being handled as severely as they need.